Did you know that your Hostinger VPS has 2 different firewalls that you should set up? Well, my name is Mike Murphy, and in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to set up firewall number 2, which is called UFW, which stands for Uncomplicated Firewall. And setting this up with your other firewall is going to add added security protection on your Hostinger VPS. So what is UFW, or Uncomplicated Firewall? UFW is a command line utility for Linux servers, and your VPS on Hostinger is a Linux server. UFW makes it easy to manage really complex firewall rules for what are called IPTables. You can think of an IPTable like a security guard or the gatekeeper that protects your server on the inside. Now, on most Linux server running the Ubuntu operating system, like your Hostinger VPS, UFW comes pre-installed, but it is inactive by default. So in this tutorial, we are going to activate the UFW, or the Uncomplicated Firewall, to add another layer of protection or security for our Hostinger VPS. So there are 2 firewalls on your VPS. There is the outer layer firewall. You set this up in the Hostinger VPS dashboard. This is known as the network level firewall, and I have a link in the description of this video that walks you through exactly how to set up this outer layer firewall. And the second firewall that I'm going to show you how to set up in this tutorial is on the inner layer of your VPS, or on the operating system level. And this inner firewall is known as a UFW, or an uncomplicated firewall. By having 2 firewalls protecting your VPS, one firewall on the outside and another firewall on the inside, it's like having 2 doors to access your house. Both of them have locks on it. Maybe you leave the front door open so somebody can get into the foyer, but in order for that person to be able to get into your house, well, they also need to have the key to get into the front door. It's the same way with the VPS. If somebody got in from the outside door, they still have another layer to get through in order to access your VPS. So the Hostinger dashboard firewall, which I'll refer to as firewall number 1, this is what you typically do when you first set up a brand new VPS. That is the network level firewall, and you set that up in the browser or in your VPS dashboard. On Hostinger, it's under the security tab firewall. This is the network level outer firewall. And the uncomplicated firewall, or firewall number 2, which we're setting up today, or UFW, is on OS level, or operating system level, and you set that up in the terminal or in the command line if you're SSHing remotely into your VPS. The prerequisites to follow along in this tutorial and set up UFW. You must have a Hostinger VPS running the Ubuntu operating system. You must be logged in as either root or a user with Sudo privileges. Now we are going to be setting this up in the terminal. And it's okay if you use the terminal from your VPS dashboard, or if you SSH in using a tool such as Termius. And before you set up the inner firewall, you want to make sure that you have the outer firewall set up in your Hostinger VPS dashboard. And to confirm that your outer, or the network level firewall, which I'm referring to as firewall number 1 because that's usually the first thing you do when you set up a new VPS, just sign into your VPS dashboard, go to the security tab, go to firewall, and there you'll see your firewall configuration. And as you can see, my outer, or my network level firewall is active. The outer and the inner UFW firewall that we're setting up today work similar. You add firewall rules, and these rules tell the security guard, or the gatekeeper protecting your VPS, what ports or what doors on the server must remain closed, and what ports or what doors on the server are allowed to open. If you see here, I have 4 rules set up on my outer network level firewall. And if I come over here, click the ellipsis, choose edit, at the bottom are the firewall rules. These are instructing my security guard that's sitting on the outside what ports or what doors must always remain closed. So if anyone tries to get in there, you need to block their access, and then which ports or which doors I allow incoming traffic, except is the same as allow. So I am accepting on port 22, which is for SSH. Now, of course, I must have a secure SSH key in order to get into port 22, but as long as I have that, I can get in through that port. And I'm also accepting or allowing traffic. These are web ports. So port 80 is for insecure HTTP web traffic, and 443 is the port for secure or HTTPS web traffic. The opposite of accept is drop. This rule is saying to drop or deny or block all access on every single other port, so close every other port on the VPS other than port or door number 22, 80, or 443. And by the way, your VPS has over 65,000 ports or 65,000 doors that can allow access into your VPS. And by default, when you first set up your VPS, all 65,000 plus doors are wide open. So until you set up that outer firewall in your VPS dashboard, all of the doors are wide open. But as soon as you add one firewall rule, like accepting port 22, all the doors will close except for the ones that you say you accept traffic. And the reason that I'm showing you the outer firewall rules is because we are going to be setting up the same rules on the inner UFW firewall that we're going to be setting up today. So step number 1, check the current status of UFW or Uncomplicated Firewall on your VPS. I am going to be doing everything in this tutorial today using the VPS Terminal in a web browser, but you can connect remotely using SSH if you want to do so using your macOS terminal or PowerShell on Windows, or using an SSH client like Termius to SSH in. I am signed into my Hostinger VPS in a web browser. I'm on the Overview tab. I'm going to come to the top right corner and click on Terminal to launch the VPS Terminal. I'm just going to type clear in the command line to clear up the space, and I'll zoom in a little bit so it's easier for you to see. This is just an FYI. This is a side note before we get started. All of the commands that I'm going to show you today for setting up the UFW, they all begin with Sudo. Sudo stands for Super User Do. I am signed in as the root user, and you might be too. The root user has super admin privileges on your VPS, so you actually never have to type sudo before any command. You only have to type sudo if you're signed in as a non-root user that has sudo privileges. If I want to check the status of UFW as the root user, well, I can just type in UFW Status verbose, tap return, and I can see the status is inactive. Now, if I switch to my non-root user, Mike, which has sudo privileges, so Mike can act like the root whenever I need to. So if I switch users by typing su switch user space dash space, then just type in the name of your non-root user, which you've already created. Link in the description if you want to see how to do that. I'll type Mike. If I run this exact same command again, watch what happens. Error. You need to be root to run the script. So the way that you do that, I can act like the root whenever I need to run a command that needs extra permissions. Well, now I just type sudo space and I type in the same UFW status verbose, tap return. Now, for the first time, it's going to ask you for the password of your non-root user, which I accidentally put in wrong. So I'm just going to paste it in there. It doesn't look like anything happened, but I'll tap return. And now it's going to return that same status because I use sudo. And there is no harm in using sudo as the root user. So I'm just going to put it on all the commands. So whether you're using a non-root user or root, the command is going to work for you. Once you confirm that the outer network level firewall is active on your VPS, the next thing we're going to do is check the status of UFW. For most of you, it's probably going to return inactive. If it says active, then you've already set up UFW. And if it says command not found, that means that UFW is not installed on your server, and you can easily install it running this simple command. I'll do sudo space UFW space status space verbose. Verbose is not really necessary, but it adds more context. So tap return. Status is inactive. This status is telling me that the UFW utility is installed on my Hostinger VPS, but it is currently inactive. Notice the critical note at the bottom. If you check the status of UFW and it returns inactive, well, you might be tempted to just activate UFW. Do not activate UFW until you first allow SSH or until you accept or allow port or door number 22 to be open on the inner firewall. If you were setting up UFW remotely using an SSH client like Termius or doing it in your terminal, if you activated UFW before you opened up port or door number 22, your SSH connection will be immediately lost and you would be locked out of your VPS. And if you don't listen to me and you activate the UFW first, or if you ever accidentally lock yourself out of your VPS so you cannot connect using SSH, well, your safety net, your recovery process is just sign into your VPS dashboard in a browser, and you will always be able to access the terminal browser where you can recover any mistakes. But we're professionals around here, and we are going to do things the right way. So before you activate the UFW or the uncomplicated inner firewall on your VPS, you are going to run either one of these commands. They both do the same thing. They open up port 22, which is the port or the door number for SSH access. I'm going to go back to the VPS terminal. I'm going to type sudo space UFW space allow space. Now I'm going to type in OpenSSH. That's just the name of the SSH service. It would work the exact same way if you put 22 for port 22 TCP. This is very similar to how you do it in the dashboard. But again, I'm just going to use OpenSSH. I'm going to tap return. Rules have been updated. That's what you want to see. Now that we have enabled SSH or port 22, the coast is clear. If you are doing this remotely over SSH, you should still be connected, and we are ready for the next step, which is to enable UFW and start protecting our inner VPS. And to enable or activate UFW on your Hostinger VPS, that's after you enabled port 22, all you have to do in the terminal or over SSH, type sudo space UFW space enable, ENABLE, tap return. You're going to tap Y to proceed, tap return. Firewall is active and enabled on system startup. Nice job. And now we're going to open up the web ports on our UFW firewall to allow traffic for websites and applications. If you have a port or a door open on the outer, if you want it to come into your VPS, you also have to open it up on the inner firewall. So let's open up the web ports 80, which is for standard HTTP traffic and SSL certificate validation, and port 443, which is for secure HTTPS traffic. To allow web port 80, I'm going to type in sudo for superuser space UFW. We want to allow, so ALLOW space. Now you're going to put the port number that you want to open or allow. So 80 space, and we want it on TCP. That's all you need to do. I'll tap return, rule added. And we're going to do the same for 443. Sudo space UFW space allow space 443 / TCP. Tap return. The rule has been added. We're almost done, but before we move on, let's just do a quick verification and audit and confirm that ports 22, 80, and 443 are working as expected on our inner firewall. So in the terminal, I'm going to type in sudo space UFW space status space verbose, and this is where verbose is going to give us more context, just more information. Tap return, And how about that? 2280.443, that's OpenSSH, same thing as port 22, allow in. And the last thing we need to do is just set the default policies. This is saying that we want all ports for incoming traffic by default to be blocked or to be shut. All outgoing traffic is okay. We're going to allow outgoing traffic from our VPS, but all incoming by default. So unless we say to allow incoming traffic, every other port is going to be closed by default. To set the default policy to block or deny all incoming traffic, I'll type out sudo space UFW space default space deny space incoming. So we want to deny incoming, tap return. Default incoming policy changed to deny. And we're going to do the same for outgoing. Sudo space UFW space default space allow space outgoing. Tap return. Default outgoing policy changed to allow. Congratulations, you just activated and configured UFW or Uncomplicated Firewall, which sits on the operating system of your VPS, adding an additional layer of security on your Hostinger virtual private server. Now that your UFW inner firewall is up and running, well, you need to know how to maintain it. Here is a handy little cheat sheet if you want to take a screenshot of this of some of the most common commands that you can use to maintain the UFW. If you want to add additional ports, let's say that you add an additional port on the outside server, well, you also need to add it to the internal UFW. To add additional ports, you're going to use sudo space UFW space allow. You're saying I want to allow this port, and now you're going to type in the port number. So I'll type 34523/TCP, tap return. I just allowed or I opened up that port number. To delete a rule that you don't want, or maybe you made a mistake, I'll type sudo space UFW space. This time I'm going to type delete before the word allow, space allow. I'll type in that 34523/TCP, tap return, rule deleted. If you want to reset the UFW back to the default settings, you're going to do sudo UFW reset. And if you want to disable UFW altogether, turn it off, which I don't recommend, you're going to use sudo UFW disable. You can now enjoy the peace of mind feeling knowing that your VPS has two layers of protection. You have the outer firewall layer, which you set in the Hostinger dashboard, link in the description on how you set that up. That is the network level firewall on the outside. And now you have the inner firewall, UFW or Uncomplicated Firewall, that sits on your VPS operating system. That's two locks for added protection. And that is how you set up UFW on your Hostinger VPS, which is now secure thanks to the double lock protection. My name is Mike Murphy, your AI handyman. Cheers.